The woman with balloons and the heavy suitcase. In a small town forgotten by time, where the country road disappeared into fog and dust, there lived a woman named Anna. From the outside, her life looked fine. She smiled at the market, greeted her neighbors, and carried on her back, without telling anyone, an old leather suitcase, as if it had been passed down to her along with everything she'd never had the courage to put down. That suitcase didn't hold clothes. It held years of saying yes when she meant no. It held arguments she'd let herself lose, just to keep a fake kind of peace. It held people who called her kind, simply because she never dared to set a boundary. Anna believed, like so many of us do, that being good meant enduring anything. That real love never got tired, never said stop, never pulled away. So she stayed. Near a brother who mocked her dreams every time she spoke them out loud at the table. Near a friend who always asked for more than she could give, and called every no selfishness. Near a version of herself that dimmed a little more each day, she chose false quiet over her own peace. One evening, more tired than usual, Anna opened an old book that had sat untouched on her shelf for years. It was about a man from Nazareth, a carpenter who, one day, stood up in his synagogue and spoke the truth. The people of his hometown, the ones who'd known him his whole life, grew so furious they wanted to throw him off a cliff. Anna stopped at the next line and read it 3 times. He didn't stay to prove who he was. He didn't chase their approval. He didn't negotiate with their hatred. He walked right through the crowd, and left. Anna closed the book. Something shifted inside her, not like a lightning bolt, but like a very old, rusted door creaking slowly open. If he was allowed to walk away, why wasn't she? That night, Anna couldn't sleep. She thought about the brother who mocked her dreams, the friend who drained her dry and called it kindness, when it was really just a lack of boundaries. She thought about how many conversations she'd rehearsed in her head, searching for the perfect words that would finally make the other person understand, change, see her clearly. And for the first time, she understood it plainly. No matter how much she explained, how much she gave, how much she forgave, some people will always find a reason to pull you back down. Not because she was doing something wrong, but because that kind of change was never hers to make happen. The next morning, Anna made coffee, sat on the front steps, and for the first time in years, instead of searching for the right words for one more explanation, she chose silence. No explanations. No justifications. No arguments. Just distance. It wasn't dramatic. She didn't slam doors, didn't write long messages, didn't ask anyone's permission to leave. She simply picked up that old suitcase, the one full of years endured for nothing, and started walking. She brought a few colorful balloons with her too. She wasn't sure why. Maybe because somewhere deep inside, there was still a child who believed in light things, in color, in joy that needed no explanation. Along the road, she thought a lot about forgiveness. Many people believe forgiveness means staying, going back, again and again, with an open heart, to the very people who keep hurting you. Anna realized that was false. And unhealthy. You can forgive someone with your whole heart, and, at the same time, never let them close again. Those aren't contradictions. They're 2 different decisions, made by the same wise heart. She walked for hours down that empty road, the suitcase growing lighter with every step, even though she hadn't taken anything out of it. Maybe it got lighter because, step by step, she was leaving behind the old obligation to keep everyone else happy. She thought about God, and for the first time she felt no guilt when she did. She understood something simple, something she'd forgotten for years. God never called her to be anyone's doormat. He never called her to be manipulated. He never called her to live in conflict, lies, and disrespect. What he'd called her to was this: protect her heart. Keep her peace. Keep walking her own road. We don't know exactly where Anna's road leads. Maybe to a new town. Maybe just to a new version of herself, one who knows how to say no without guilt, who understands the difference between kindness and self-sacrifice, who has learned that sometimes the best decision isn't to keep enduring, but to walk straight through the storm and keep going. What we do know is that the suitcase, once so heavy, now hangs differently in her hand. Not because it emptied itself of memories, but because it no longer carries, alongside them, the obligation to stay somewhere her heart had no room left to breathe. If Anna's story sounds familiar, if you're carrying a suitcase just as heavy, somewhere, Maybe today's message isn't a coincidence. You don't have to leave by slamming doors. You don't have to win the last argument. You just have to choose, at some point, silence over justification, distance over exhaustion, and keep walking your own road. If this video spoke to you, hit like, subscribe for more stories like this one, and tell me in the comments, have you ever had the courage to walk away?